Hi guys, and welcome to the first prediction video for a wee while on the channel. And of course we have the Scottish Cup quarter-finals coming up this weekend, and we have the teams that are in it in front of us. Of course, the first match is going to be played on Friday night, and we have a lot of interesting fixtures there. In fact, I would argue that every single one has a lot of interest behind it. I'll certainly be keeping my eye on every single fixture, trying to watch as much as I can as well, potentially doing some match reactions for them as well on the channel, getting those brought back. But without further ado, let's get into the predictions of the first of the weekend's fixtures. Starting off, we have Hearts against Dundee, which is a fixture that's brought up a lot of exciting results this season, to be fair. The first time that Dundee played Hearts, of course, they gave them a drubbing. I think it was, 4-0, 4-1, one of the two. Then, of course, Hearts gave Dundee a 6-0 drubbing, one of two 6-0 drubbings that would be on the end of back-to-back. Both teams, you would say, have had a disappointing season overall compared to last season. Of course, Dundee made the top 6 last season, Hearts finishing third, and, you know, got into Europe. Hearts really should have secured knockout football in Europe, to be fair to them. However, they threw it away in the last game. Of course, they spent a lot of the season floundering at the bottom with HIBS. Dundee, you know, they're in a relegation scrap now. Of course, they got a draw against STJOHNSTONE, which benefited them. They could have been better coming away with a win in that fixture, of course. But to go from top 6 to a relegation battle is not ideal for them. Hearts, their form is obviously upturned. They are within a shout of top 6. If results go their way, they maybe could have been in the top 6 already had they beaten Rangers in that 3-1 game where Rangers only actually scored once, which was a weird one. The Edinburgh Derby at the weekend, you know, I would say that Hearts got the better of the first half and then Hibs got the better of the second half, so that could have gone either way in the end if Hearts had maybe taken some of their chances in the first half. But they did, of course, get beaten back-to-back Edinburgh Derbies to compound a pretty miserable season for them, by all accounts. But they do have a shot at Hampden semi-final glory, and that is what I am going to predict for them. A 2-0 win for Hearts, and Hearts will be the first team in the hat for the Scottish Cup semi-final. On to this one, very interesting. Aberdeen versus QUEENSPARK. Of course, Aberdeen were upset a few seasons ago by Darvel. This one would be less of an upset than that, given that QueensPark are, of course, higher up than Darvel. But QueensPark, you know, league football this season hasn't been as kind to them as the Scottish Cup has. Of course, famously knocking out Rangers in the previous round, which should have spelt the end of Luke Clement, but it didn't. A couple of games later, of course, he was gone. But, you know, Aberdeen, not been on the greatest of form for a while. A couple of win or two here or there. Came back against Dundee United at the weekend. I thought they played okay against Celtic as well, even though they got beat quite heavily. You would anticipate Aberdeen to get the job done here, though. I don't know if QueensPark can pull off back-to-back upsets in this case, as much as Aberdeen have gone through a poor run of form. I do believe that Aberdeen will be the second team in the hat for the Scottish Cup semi-finals, and I am going to predict a 3-0 Aberdeen win in this game. On to Celtic versus Hibs. Under normal circumstances, you would expect Celtic to potentially progress through this tie extremely comfortably, and they still could progress through this tie extremely comfortably. However, not only are Hibs coming off the back of beating Celtic at Easter Road, you know, say what you want about the Maida disallowed equaliser, but Hibs are coming off the back of an Edinburgh Derby win as well, and being unbeaten for a very long time. However, the last result that they did lose was 3-0 at Celtic Park, was the last time they got beat. So you would still probably lean in favour of Celtic. Celtic, of course, have the driving force of arguably securing the treble. The league fixture, of course, you know, there's a little bit less pressure on them because of how far ahead they are against Rangers at this point in time, although Celtic do want to win every single game, you would say. I would predict, though, with you know, a lack of midweek football for Celtic to play. They've had a full week's rest. A good win against St Mirren away from home, even though, of course, Hibs will be riding high off the back of an Edinburgh Derby win. I am going to predict a 2-0 Celtic win in this case, and Celtic to be the third team in the hat for the Scottish Cup semi-finals. And the final game of the Scottish Cup quarter-finals is a very interesting one indeed, of course. Livingston, Championship Livingston, that is, against bottom of the Premiership, St Johnstone. Livingston at home might give them that bit of an edge. St Johnstone, you know, a cup run would be nice for them, but they'll want to focus on their survival. I would imagine a few months ago they looked down and out, but they are relatively close to Dundee now. So potentially that could be something they want to focus on. You could argue the same, that Livy might want to focus on trying to topple Falkirk at the top of the league before the season is done, so they don't have to go through playoffs. But I am going to favour Livingston here for them to be the only non-Premiership team in the hat for the Scottish Cup semi-final. Sorry, St Johnstone fans, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Livingston win in this case. And then Livingston, you know, they might be able to get themselves to Hampden for a Scottish Cup final, not just a Scottish Cup semi-final, and have a Championship team in the final against one of the Premiership sides, and that would be very interesting indeed, instead of being an all-Premiership final. But we'll see what ends up happening, of course, at that stage. So my predictions are Hearts to go through against Dundee, Aberdeen to go through against Queen's Park, Celtic to go through against Hibs, and Livingston to go through against St Johnstone. Please feel free to check out some other content on the channel. We had the Luigi's Mansion walkthroughs going up. We'll have another one of them up very soon. We had the new SPFL RTG episode as well. Thanks for all the new subscribers we've had in the past couple of days. I am looking to come back to uploading on a regular basis now with other types of content, not just this. And as I said, I'll look to react to as many of these games as possible as well. Please like, subscribe, and I'll catch you after.